I think we're gonna go through games 1, 6, and 8. Yeah, so this is the first one.
Very generous accuracy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Probably because we played the Rook Endgame for so long.
Played a Rook game forever. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really interesting to see like how things develop, right? Because this was the first game of the match, and the first game with where I played the Sveshnikov as black. So I think that like the level of preparation I think for both sides was probably like very basic compared to what it was later. Like I knew the general ideas here from because it used to be like the main line, but I mean after a while things certainly
Yeah,
certainly developed quite a
I
lot.
think that you were just like way ahead in these bishop takes e6 lines. That's why we kind of decided not to go in this direction later.
Yeah, I mean there was specifically this B6 stuff, right? That was kind of
Yeah, we just
not
didn't consider this
that
almost
was
at all.
not much played at the time, and like I mean it's still kind of a fear for black, but um it, I don't know when it happened. Like now nobody plays DC6 anymore.
But also at the time, like we didn't take DC so seriously because we just thought it was like a
Yeah.
pretty pleasant position, and BC was still very popular in like 2016.
Yeah.
Like Hikaru, Eliano played against me. I had a lot of games there, and DC was just forgotten. I actually
Yeah.
had a game against Gelfin in 2018 Olympiad, and
Yeah, I remember that was quite convincing.
yeah, he
Uh
allowed E5
yeah.
early on, which isn't very strategically good for black, I guess.
No, I remember I played a lot of training games against Stu, but like I think he started out by saying that BC6 is a better move. But if you don't want to do that, you can also play. I'm not gonna like if you prefer DC6, then we should look at that as well. But I feel like he was the only one who was kind of getting away with like this 98, knight C7, 96 positions with the pawn on E5. But to me, it always didn't look that good. Um,
This direction is like really forgotten about these
yeah.
days. Also because people don't really take on C6
Yeah,
anymore, I
but
guess.
people also don't go DC really at all.
Yeah,
I saw some guy played in the Bundesliga, I think against Raunak, some guy from St. Pauli, like, and I think Raunak played this way, and I think he took with the bishop on F4, and then
like my knowledge was that you take with the rook at the time. I just,
yeah,
but it was only like knight E6, I think. Bishop E6 was just not
yeah,
something that
bishop
considered.
E6 was kind of and then this H6 stuff. Like I kind of remember in detail what I knew and didn't know, but yeah, yeah, 96 is just more or less bad, I think. So, uh,
I don't know why I didn't play A4. I mean, when you think about it logically, like after H6,
yeah,
there is no possible downside. There is definitely an upside that B6 is weak, but there's no possible downside for white, I think, to including A4, A5.
yeah, I don't
But
know.
I don't
I
remember
don't
my
know.
thought
I like
process.
it's typical first game, right? Like you want to go queen d2, and like even if you think for forever, like you want to make some general move. But I agree. Like I think a4 a5 was our main focus here.
I think maybe my thought process was I wanted at some point consider A3, B4, but
Yeah,
I think I was just like tanking and also getting a bit confused throughout
yeah,
the next few moves. But so far,
yeah.
pretty.
This queen d6, I remember um I was very here. I think I was already out of book as well. But queen d6 is like
Yeah, it's
yeah,
quite a good
that
move.
was the key idea. I mean, obviously not to allow d4 and
And also not to allow like queen d7 knight g4 or something like that.
yeah. Uh, yeah, yeah, of course, for those who like the idea is, well, actually not here in 97, but
Why is it? It's 97 just E5 is, yeah, yeah,
1975, yeah,
E5.
yeah.
So just on
But the
castle.
general idea is not to run into this, so that you can, if you put the queen on D7. Um, yeah.
So
Uh,
my main mistake was knight f6. Huh? It's although it's already very pleasant for black.
yeah, it's already like I was very optimistic here. Time situation and everything that was going on, I was already, and yeah, I mean this. I feel like this is a theme in these Berlin positions as well. Like these constructions, like will eventually be broken down, even if it looks nice
And also, your
temporarily.
bishop is like a tremendous piece on e5.
Bishop, yeah,
It
it's
just never
incredible.
gets kicked away and never gets traded. Like I can't even maneuver my knight to f3 potentially, so
Yeah.
it's just there eternally.
Um. Yeah. Knight of eight.
But it's like overall still quite high quality.
Yeah. Like I don't remember
Didn't play
exactly.
badly. Okay, knight d7, bishop f4, knight f6.
Yeah, I think I just saw. I think I saw this, but I didn't like. I obviously didn't take it seriously at all.
It's also kind of scary. But yeah, I'm sacking on f4, which I should have.
Oh, you're just taking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think I was considering, but so maybe I should have found that. Okay, knight h5 isn't ridiculous either.
This. I don't even remember this. I seem to remember that I thought I was just much better here.
Yeah, I felt like I was borderline losing.
Yeah.
But after rook g4, why would I reject rook g4? I feel like I would reject it because I'm scared of taking rook g8.
Queen G2 specifically.
Que-
Like I have some vague memories that I was looking at this,
So
but
queen e6 is
Queen E6
knight
and
f2,
Knight
bishop d4,
F2, Bishop D4,
take,
Queen
and then the
H2.
queen goes to h3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bishop f2, rook g4, queen h3.
That's-
Actually, after queen h3, you're probably in danger because rook f4 is such a big threat, and king d7, rook g2.
Seems to lose. Yeah.
So okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think
But it's a really unpleasant position.
it's a really unpleasant position for sure. Yeah. Now,
But I'm still not like doing bad objectively. I mean,
which again is
it's gosh.
maybe like the chess.com engine is just really bad. But I seem to remember that this was like minus 1.5 or something at the time.
I would assume that it got closer to a draw just because engines are so much stronger. But
Yeah.
king f2, queen f3 is really logical. That's what I did. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, I seem to remember that I kind of expected this, but I didn't really. Also, like,
Yeah,
why?
allowing rook g3 is scary. Just so happens that this queen h3 and 1, a4. Okay, it's probably kind of systematically okay.
But
But,
I mean,
but
yeah,
it's not fun. Your king's safe.
it's
Yeah.
not fun at all.
But yeah, my memory of it wasn't that I was my big mistake was on move 33. I basically felt like things had already semi collapsed.
Yeah,
But apparently my like first decisive mistake was on 33. And now
yeah,
it's
but the thing is, I think so far all my moves have been so easy. Like the entire game, like I was up way on time, and I mean, I was pretty sure that I was going to win at this point, and I'm sure
yeah.
you were pretty sure that you were going to lose this. So
With seconds in this position, yeah,
yeah,
I did feel totally lost. I did have like I wasn't in a hopeless mindset yet because I felt like I have potential to consolidate, but
yeah,
most of the time you don't consolidate.
yeah. But what did I do here? I ended up going queen. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that I didn't just go king b7 first.
But you probably wanted to stop queen h1 because if I get queen h1 knight f3, like at least king b7, I would immediately play queen h1 and
Yeah. But still, you're not getting out.
Yeah, it's this is
King
yeah
D2, even
B5,
like
yeah.
B5.
Or yeah, queen E2 first.
I okay, maybe some E5 randomly holds. Yeah, take everything, and it's not that easy. But yeah, I remember when I was showed Queen G7 after the game. Like that's not an obvious move at all. I would say. Like you obviously look at Queen E5 and then you reject it because of Rook G2. Um, or I mean, you don't.
Could potentially reject it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I remember like I did look at this line. I didn't love the general idea of.
I don't think I survived this though because like also queen F3, queen A2, queen H5. Like my pawns are not moving, and you can just like start arranging a pawn, A5, B5, right?
I could go B5. Oh, you can take
Or like first
B5.
queen A2 and then A5. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. A okay. Well, apparently A5 is bad.
A5. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not super easy.
it's not super easy now. I mean, here you're never queening, so
Yeah.
and then Queen C5 is just always F3, so let's
It's
say the
also
queen
bishop
goes.
A5 because queen E7 is not really a check. I mean, it's
Yeah.
meaningful.
Okay, here you just queening. Um,
But after queen G1, it was like you still had, I think, a clear win after that.
yeah. Yeah, so H4. I don't know why I played H4. This is yeah, I should have just gone back, but
I also don't know why I played E5. I probably just thought king B7 and like, but then I take on F4, right? So after E5, oh, maybe I was afraid of
I'm
rook
pretty
G5.
sure my plan was this. And then rook E8.
Yeah, my king is
Apparently
completely
this
safe.
king is completely safe. Yeah, this was
No,
insane.
I don't have a memory of why I rejected E5, but I also with like 45 seconds or so.
But yeah, I remember I was not thinking clearly at all here. I was just there was just too much adrenaline.
I mean, it is weird to have such. Maybe not weird because the last two matches also like the first game was kind of wild, but
But yeah, you don't expect to get a chance with black in the
yeah,
first
yeah.
game. No, that's for sure.
But like, wait, so in the first game of Ding versus Jan, wait, did Jan win the first? Oh,
No,
he
he won the
the
second.
second game. So the
The
first game
second.
was just a normal draw.
Yeah.
Okay, and Gukesh lost the first game with White against Ding.
Yeah. Uh yeah, C3. This I remember. I mean, obviously my plan was to go rook G3, but I kind of just lost heart, I think. I ended up in a space where I was thinking that I'm not sure if these pawns are queening, and
Yeah, I just lose. I lose everything.
yeah, but how though?
C3.
Yeah,
Okay, it's not
I mean it's
it's
not.
not trivial. I mean, yeah, I am queening.
Yeah, it's a nice line actually.
Yeah, you win on F3.
Yeah,
No, but overall, this is a difficult calculation.
yeah. And then if this, or
Also, bishop b5 is not a bad move. I think I was shocked that you didn't play b5 because I just didn't like see what I'm doing if you because I can't move my knight in that case.
oh, in this case,
Yeah, like I just don't have a move. So from the white
yeah.
side, you just see like you're totally devoid of ideas.
I think I was looking at stuff like, well, I think that, yeah, I don't know. This was, yeah, this was insane.
Because at least now I got if my knight's on g4, I get a lot of positional hope. I mean,
So here is its queen a1 randomly wins. Yeah,
okay, it is tempting to take that pawn. No, I'm lucky that I that I aren't losing after bishop
yeah.
c3.
I think I was just, yeah, queen g7. Like this is hard to explain because, as you said, like you cannot move. So why would I? Yeah, why not play b5 or? Yeah, it's so logical. Just go b4 and then.
Yeah, I probably have to play b4, d4 just at least to get some space.
Yeah,
It's
this is
not.
so bad. This is so lost. Um,
And then after bishop d3 is just a
yeah,
draw,
bishop
right?
f4.
Which
Yeah,
I
here
think my
it's just
defense was pretty
yeah,
pretty solid this
it was
game.
very solid. Here,
No, it is lucky that I'm not losing this. I mean, it's really close.
yeah,
Knight
knight
h6,
h6 is a nice one. It's just a draw. Honestly, like yeah, I think there are a lot of decisions here. There are just first game nerves a lot
No,
because
like
like what my recollection was that I'm winning, but it was kind of like not that easy. But yeah, it really
yeah, I was surprised at how much pressure I felt like before the game started in the first game. It didn't feel like a normal or even like candidates level pressure. It was definitely a different
yeah,
feeling.
for sure. It's just a different beast altogether. Uh, okay.
Maybe we shouldn't close this out because
Yeah, should go just go back. Okay, so as far as I can remember, nothing
I mean I did
spectacular.
have like a decent
You
advantage in one of the
you
games.
actually
Yeah,
had a decent advantage in game three.
yeah, which I completely. But this is a nice ending.
Yeah, this the thing is, I completely forgot my prep here. But these things, I think you're supposed to just give up c5 and then play for
But
compensation.
BC was actually good in this version, right? Instead of knight d2, or is it okay for black?
No,
Because I felt like
I think the line was here. The line was something along these lines where
at least it's not obvious that I
yeah,
should
it's not
take. Yeah,
obvious. No, but
I remember getting criticized after the game by my seconds for not taking, but and like weirdly enough, I reviewed the game like quite a while after we played it. I mean, years after we played it, and I was surprised by how big the advantage was
yeah,
if I had invaded.
it's
I mean, it was
it's honestly
barely.
shocking. I think I played these moves quickly because I assumed that this had to be the idea, because I seem to remember still that I was supposed to just allow. Yeah, but now, yeah, there's this line that I played against Hikaru, but like I seem to remember that I was supposed to just allow this, but
So after 92, you don't play bishop g4 basically. Yeah.
no, I don't think so.
Okay, taking is a bit
I
unusual,
don't
right?
think I take.
Maybe
I
bishop
think it was
e6, yeah?
bishop e6,
That does make
and
sense.
then here somewhere something along these lines. Yeah,
Yeah, this makes a lot
yeah,
of
this
sense.
doesn't look that bad. No, bishop g4 was definitely wrong. Oh boy.
But yeah, it was only one
And
moment in this game, I
yeah,
think.
and there's like this of course compounds the mistake. I think I was just in a mindset where I think I just remember that I thought BC was critical, so I assumed after knight d2 I should be fine. But again, my knowledge was just not good enough. And
Yeah, and instead of bishop d2, I
instead of
take.
bishop d2, yeah, I just take.
It's surprising how big the difference is, but this is
Yeah,
like a really nasty position after queen a1, queen a7, which maybe I should have realized, but I just didn't think I was. I thought I was maybe slightly better, but that's the extent of it.
yeah,
And this one just sucks for black.
yeah. I don't remember what Sessa was saying, but this was like already
I think it was
very
plus
significant.
one or so,
Yeah,
yeah.
plus one or so. Yeah, this is really bad. And I mean, it's still surprising. It still
Yeah.
looks quite innocuous, but it is just a huge advantage.
I mean, it's not definitely not a guarantee that I make anything of it, but
No, no, no.
it's a free roll for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think you were better, but like
But
not significantly.
not significantly. Yeah, there wasn't much in this. Um, yeah. Then I
This
think
was just like kind of unpleasant for me.
yeah.
I don't know what we were thinking with this prep.
No, this is
In hindsight, it's such
this
stupid prep.
it really is.
Like we
Uh,
just assumed that you played b3,
uh
which I mean not here, but like
yeah.
in the very start of the
Oh yeah, yeah.
that we just assumed like the main line is cb4
And
a3
CB4 and
b3.
B. Yeah, but that was our plan initially, but it's just a bit better for
Yeah,
white. That
that's what we
was
were
what
going
we
for.
realized as well. Yeah, so you kind of have to, and then yeah, this is all like
Yeah, just
forced stuff, which is yeah, it's all basically a forced.
Nothing's changed since
for
then.
straw, and nothing's really changed. But yeah, I don't remember what was.
I think basically I was like, okay, probably, uh,
Oh yeah, yeah,
it,
it was Rook D1. Rook D1 was the line,
yeah,
and then you have this.
which we actually had, but I just
Yeah,
forgot in
you
too
have
many
this
games.
position which, I mean, it's technically very slightly better for white, but it's just very drawish.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
forgot and decided to think on my own and got into a pretty unpleasant position, I felt.
yeah, yeah. There was just King B6,
Yeah.
which was, but I mean, it was not a big chance by any means. Um, but yeah, then
This was our best game, the match, from like overall quality from both sides, I thought. I mean, that was my
maybe
opinion.
like my play was really really sloppy at some point. Like obviously, we're kind of hoping that you guys didn't have knight c6 here. Like, I mean, people are doing okay with knight of six now as well, but at least then you kind of get a game, right? Uh,
So like when we were checking 96, I think I played a game against Christian and and he played what was it after knight d4? Is it's queen d3, right? Um
oh,
which immediately no, it's a queen c4. And then like years later, we were discussing the position again, and he was like, "What about queen c4?"
that's funny. Uh, Christian is Fabiano's main coach, or was at the very least at the time. For those who are wondering, that's funny.
I did feel like the end game that we got was like it was underestimated in our prep, but it did feel a bit unpleasant.
Yeah, no, it did feel like a very slight advantage at some point, but then I just completely lost my way. Like I spent ages on this maneuver, which was just nonsense to be honest.
Yeah, this G3 stuff
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Knight C8 was nice, of course, and then I think I just completely underestimated C5, and then as far as I can, yeah, I more or less blitzed the next couple of moves, and then I realized that I'm not even equal. Like I'm just from thinking I'm slightly better, I'm just worse. Yeah.
I think your chances of advantage are pretty much evaporated at this point. I
Yeah.
don't know where you
No,
maybe keeping the knights. Yeah, maybe that would be the way.
yeah, I seem to remember that, but probably 98 there was just nothing. Yeah. Maybe it was just a feeling I had at the time. But yeah, this was crazy. Just no real sense of danger here whatsoever. Like here I was still thinking that I'm very slightly better, and I cannot for the life of me understand why. Um,
Yeah, it does feel like my pieces are all pretty good.
yeah,
I mean, unless you're getting a few moves in, like bishop f4 and everything, all the trades go in your
yeah,
favor. Even in that case, it's equal. But
but for now, I'm underdeveloped. Your pieces are better, and it's just uh, and
here I did feel like mildly optimistic because your bishop is so awkward.
yeah, I was definitely feeling the heat here already, and I mean Bishop D1 was, I don't know how much time I spent, but this was a bit.
If we assume this is accurate on the side, I mean, on it says 46 minutes at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. I just remember I was getting fidgety at this point because I didn't like this direction whatsoever. I'm a little bit surprised that the engine says that white is just fine, because it did feel like in many ways it did feel a little bit unpleasant. I think this was my original
Yeah, I was definitely expecting this.
idea,
Yeah.
right? And Rook E8, and
I don't
yeah,
know if I would play Rook E8, or I can't remember if it was Rook 8 or Rook D7 that I
I
wanted.
mean Rook D7, I go to F4, right?
Yeah.
So
No, I mean,
uh,
in either case, you're okay.
yeah, but I think this was my original plan, just to go for Bishop F4, and my first instinct was that white is fine, but I couldn't really see how to equalize completely, even if I get this and this. Do I really want to take on E6? And it's very very minor stuff, but I just I think I just looked at it for a few minutes and then moved my bishop, which is
Yeah, bishop
Honestly,
e.
a crazy decision.
It was a very risky moment
Yeah,
because now it's really sharp. I
yeah,
think. I mean, d4 is just super weak.
yeah. It's pretty.
You kind of did what you have to do at this point forward, right?
Yeah, I think I had to trade, and this is more or less a forced. And then this was my other like moment of insanity. Not going for a4 because I mean you really should not lose this position with um the dark square bishops and the knight being well placed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting knight on e3, king on d3, then you're
Yeah,
just too
you
solid.
said
Yeah.
like to illustrate you can make moves like bishop e6,
Or
f
yeah, king e2 first.
yeah, or king e2 first, just to prevent bishop c3. Um, let's say the bishop goes to e7. I mean, you can go g4 or you can just g5. Well,
Yeah,
you
just
can not.
a6 and bishop
But
f4.
the thing is, I was even looking at f4 in these situations, and that
Yeah, yeah, this is a fortress.
is it's pretty much fortress. Um, like
I mean,
g6, I can even go f5. I think.
yeah, this is definitely a fortress.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to.
or I mean, king c3 and then.
But no, I mean, I think f5 is 100% a
Yeah,
fortress because I'm not breaking through on the queen side ever. Bishop f4, king
or
c3. Yeah.
king c3.
Well, no, no,
Well,
no,
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 don't
no.
allow f4 yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit sweaty, but I mean, I don't think you're ever doing anything here. But the thing is that this was clearly very very drawish. I just for some reason I decided that this was also okay. Um, like I don't remember if I missed bishop a3 or I just underestimated it, but judging by the time, I definitely didn't feel great after that move. Um,
And yeah, and it is a pure free roll, which feels really
yeah,
nice in a match with the black pieces.
yeah. f4. I guess this was logical.
I don't remember what I was thinking, but like
I mean,
bishop
bishop
d7, yeah, bishop
comes
d7
into
makes
c6
sense.
is very logical. Bishop d1.
But now you're like in purely in survival mode, right? Because
Yeah,
you're on the edge of
I'm
losing.
definitely on the edge here. Like all my moves here are they're quite forced. Like I have to go f4, f5, and then
Yeah, I don't remember why I think it was a big decision to take the d4 pawn, not the a2 pawn, but I can't remember why I reject. Okay, knight a2 probably knight c2, right? Or is there's knight c1 there?
there's knight c1.
Okay,
Yes,
so
bishop a7. No, I think I saw this
bishop
knight
d1, yeah.
c1 and bishop d1, and this. I seem to remember that I was not super worried about this, but it does look a bit yucky.
It is a it does look very drawish though. I mean, also instead of knight c2, like some way to attack d5, but yeah, I mean b3 is also weak. But okay, I think what
Yeah.
my decision was sensible as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can even give d4 and go g4 and d5. It should be okay. Um, no, I think yours was the most. I mean, definitely the one that I feared the most. Um,
So I did have this feeling the d pawn was very dangerous, but I mean,
yeah.
just seeing this like number, which is almost nothing, is a bit
Uh,
sobering.
no, but I do remember. I do remember that I couldn't. There were many instances like this. Like I couldn't refute knight f1. I remember that, but it just looks so dangerous.
Yeah, also the way the engine plays is just putting a knight on d2 and wait and sitting, which is not super easy
Yeah,
with the king on
and
f2.
it feels like these pawns on the king side are
Yeah, they're not moving.
they're not moving, and I mean I guess my king is always very active, but it didn't feel good. So say takes king a2, bishop
Yeah,
b4,
g4 and
say bishop c2.
so wait, if I go to b1, then just pawn a4, it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
Or you can, ah yeah, because the king
Oh,
goes to e4, yeah. Okay, yeah, this was yeah,
uh,
it was a surprise for me that you gave up the piece, but it didn't seem like a bad decision necessarily.
No, I definitely misjudged this because I, well, firstly I misjudged it, but secondly I also missed bishop a3.
Hmm.
I thought I'm getting this pawn rolling and I'm completely
Yeah, without bishop a3, I don't have
bishop
chances.
a3. Like I thought it's just dead draw, and then
It's
yeah,
actually the
this
second
was
time I've played bishop a3, which is funny.
yeah. I think I may have missed it twice actually. Uh,
No, without that, then I have
yeah.
zero
Then
chances to win.
you have nothing, but yeah, now I was definitely getting worried. So yeah, the a pawn looks keeping the a pawn looks logical. Um, do you remember if there were any chances for you here, or are we just arriving at this
I think it was
position?
just a draw. Yeah.
It was just a draw, yeah.
I mean, I have very little freedom here.
Yeah.
And there was like one winning opportunity in the game,
Yeah, yeah. Later
which is
on
famous.
there was one.
Yeah, I was really surprised by this decision. I just didn't expect you to just give the pawn to give the king there.
Like as far as I can remember, I just was really sure that it was a fortress, and I thought like I can sit here and try and find another fortress, but um yeah, I'm not sure about it. So let's just go for this one. Also, like I didn't like the idea of letting the knight to
No,
e5.
it is a fortress, but it's such a borderline one. It's like,
Yeah. No, I didn't, but I didn't realize it was that borderline. That's the thing.
but this is a draw. It's just
Yeah,
I had
this
some
is
like accidental win.
yeah, it's a very nice fortress actually.
Okay,
What
so
was
I don't
this?
really remember nuances, but yeah, you let my knight get to e2. I think yeah, king g6 is already lost, right?
Yeah, King G6 is the losing move, yeah.
Which is kind of unfair. It's so natural. Like
Yeah.
in Blitz, you play it automatically, I
Yeah, I
think.
think yeah. And then yeah, Bishop G5 and then yeah, Bishop H4 specifically wins.
Yeah, it's not easy, I think.
And then you put the knight on like you trap the knight on G3, right?
Yeah, I already given up hope. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I could sense that at the time that I think we both were just sure that this was a fortress.
yeah, I don't even know if I considered bishop h4. I actually don't remember my thoughts, and I just remember thinking for 2 hours in bed about why it's winning, and also like because my knight goes to g1 here,
Oh yeah, that's where you're
and then my
trapping.
king goes to g8 because
G8.
if my king's on h8 at any moment,
No, no, no. I remember that
yeah,
when if the king comes to h8, you're just winning because you're getting to h6.
yeah.
Um, but,
I mean, overall, I think it's like findable, but it is on the edge of findable and not
but
findable.
it's also after 5 hours, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah, like besides that one mistake, the game did not contain any swings. Like,
No, I mean, uh, I certainly made some moves that made it a bit more difficult, and I think you did a fantastic job, like putting on pressure from a position which looked, I mean, that equal. Uh, like uh, I don't know, maybe it was all in my own head, but I didn't imagine like there were many points where I thought I was just out of the woods, and then there was something there. So I don't know. Of course, this what was the made in 36 or something?
I think it was
That's
maybe more than that, but I don't know if engine
yeah,
has maybe
it's
changed.
the
But
copy.
Sese was strong enough to calculate soulmate, right? At that time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was 36. What was it?
Yeah, yeah, maybe it was a bit more. I
I
don't
mean, if I
remember.
had found this, I would consider it like my best game I've ever
Yeah.
played.
Yeah, because apart from that, I mean, I did just start defending well at some point, I think. Um,
Yeah.
and
I
then
mean, you didn't make egregious mistakes, I
no,
don't think.
it's
Just like
just
some questionable.
some questionable choices here and there. Okay. Yeah. So this was game six. Then
7
yeah,
was
game
really boring.
seven was probably the most boring game, and then yeah, game eight again
Yeah, this was. I
was
really regret this
wild.
one. This was really stupid.
Um, so I remember being thinking that we were gonna face knight d5 at some point because we did consider it to be like generally the most dangerous line, but I mean, as it wasn't coming, we weren't quite sure what to expect, right? And my like the lines that I was checking from day to day definitely were not the most thorough for sure, because yeah, I was definitely not into the details there. So like, what was the process for you guys, like getting to the point where you just wanted to go for knight d5?
We had already been considering it from the previous white game, but we just weren't like at the point where I was ready to play it. Um, and so first we started with like I guess this was the critical position.
Yeah,
Like this was a theory at the time, and
and then it
we
was
started with like
either bishop d2 or king
yeah,
h1, right? So
yeah, and
those were the moves at the time.
I think bishop d2 was like the more modern approach, which like Oparin used to beat Gelfand. I think that was like one of the key games, and then yeah, king h1 was like the old stuff, which was at some point after we went through bishop d2 and b4, then king h1 was like, okay, what else can we do? So that was the last try that we were going to use, like later in the match. But then you switched
Yeah,
to knight e7. But yeah, bishop d2. We hadn't found b4 yet, and we were pretty happy with this direction, I think. But it was enormously complicated, and like what you played was only one of the lines.
yeah,
I think uh, what was like confusing to us at the time were these positions where like I forget exactly how it goes, but white plays c3 before and then very often b5, and that was like strategically shocking, but Leela was really happy sometimes with that structure with white's pawn on b5.
yeah,
I don't remember exactly the details, but those were like the lines that we were considered critical, and this stuff that you played with knight e5, like
yeah.
first we were looking at knight takes e5, which just looked terrifying for white. So then we figured that you probably shouldn't take on e5. But that whole process took a long time as well.
Yeah. No, but in retrospect, like this was an insane line to go down to begin with for black, since there are definitely more solid choices, and then g5 was just an attempt to recall like the final position of a line that I remembered. But it's like I could see during the game like I'm not in time, and then I just ended up playing it regardless, which was a bit crazy because it's just c4 c5 and then
Yeah, g5 is basically a losing move.
yeah.
I think I had like a game against Peter a few months later from the other side, and I was trying to recall that. I think I played bishop f6, c4, g5, and then I wondered like, or maybe he didn't play c4, maybe he played king h1. Is that possible? Or like I just remembered that after g5 I was wondering what to do after g3, and I didn't feel comfortable with my position.
Yeah.
Um, but he allowed f4, and then but yeah, after g5 c4 I just felt like yeah, this is pretty much a disaster for black. But I didn't know how much of a disaster yet, which it's about as bad as it can get.
It is about as bad as it can get. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's. I mean, it's just. Yeah, it's just one of
Oh,
those.
sorry. The game against Wheeler was bishop f6, bishop e2, g5.
And then G3, and you were thinking that you were stuck.
I think so, but I think anyways. I might be misremembering. This was a game from 2019, Granke.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I mean, generally, this is a extremely risky direction for black to take. Like, you really don't need to do this.
Yeah, and like what you showed later with like against Maxime, I think.
Yeah,
was like a very good solution.
Yeah.
You just like stop the pawn on a4 and play a5 b6 and so on.
People have sort of stopped doing this for white. Like they're going for some earlier a5 stuff just to
does feel like a fashion thing still.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, B4 honestly we were super like we didn't know, and like even for later games like we found it hard to find something that we were really satisfied with. Like it looks like, I don't know if that was a Lila thing or not, but it looks so crazy, but we just yeah
Yeah, this
we
was
just didn't,
linear working with Leela.
yeah we really didn't like, that was the reason why we switched, because not because we were worried that you were gonna go to King H1 or whatever. We just like didn't like the positions after B4 at all.
Yeah, I think on principle I wouldn't have repeated it because I
Yeah.
would just assume like I shouldn't be repeating like the last thing I've done.
No, but
But
yeah.
B4 was a good idea.
No,
That
for
was
sure.
definitely one of our better ideas in the match.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is. But G5 is just a wild move.
Yeah, I think this is like I think the easiest one was Rook AE1 instead of Rook AD1. This is probably I think Rook AE1 is like +3 or something, plus maybe more than that.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit hard to explain to people. Like basically, white has a bind. The pawn is too strong, and the black king is perpetually weak. So these are some of the reasons why. I mean, also the black queen is passive. Like black position is just a wreck here.
I think it's also like calculatable because your options are you have like basically two moves, bishop g6 and bishop f6
Yeah.
in any position. So
No, but what was the
maybe bishop
refutation here?
e5 or not bishop.
Oh, bishop e5. Yeah. This. Yeah, here. I seem to remember even like queen c3. I just couldn't see what to do. But apparently, like
Okay, it's not super trivial, yeah.
It's not.
But I think I would
trivial. But rook d1.
So
here,
like queen h5 is of course the.
But I think this is what I was looking at, and I just, like, I just couldn't make it work for black. I mean, it doesn't work for black.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm just falling apart.
I mean, h3 is insane. I think, like queen h5 was kind of my instinct after bishop d6, and then I started seeing some ghosts after bishop g6, queen h6, which, rook f7, rook fe1 or knight.
Yeah.
But it's just over. It's not too difficult, I think.
No. The d6 is coming in.
But yeah,
It's
after
just very
h3,
bad.
it's just. There's
And
just
the thing
nothing
is,
there.
like, it's shocking how it goes from, and then after h3, it's just more or less a forced draw.
Yeah, it's just zeros basically.
Yeah.
But it was such a soft move.
Yeah. No, I mean, knight c4. I don't remember what I was thinking about queen h5, but knight c4 I thought was kind of, yeah, it was just calculable, because like the only way not to resign immediately is g4 and g3, but it just doesn't work. And
Yeah, I don't remember looking at bishop knight c4. I think my instinct was not knight c4 in general. I just think I was focusing on queen h5, got a bit scared, and then played h3, thinking, okay, whatever, it's still gonna be
it's
really
still
good.
gonna be winning, and then
And then it's not at all.
yeah, I seem to remember that I played this. Yeah, I think I played this basically without thinking, because I was just, I really got away with something here.
Yeah, from the black side, you probably feel like once you get some freedom, it just feels like a whole.
But this really like felt like game one to me. Like it's just, I mean, it's not like a super obvious choice, but it's just hesitation at the wrong time for both of us.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, we both definitely missed. Like that was my feeling after the match. That, okay, I mean, I did miss a big chance here, but the first game was a gift as well.
Yeah.
And I never really blamed myself very much for game 6. This one I did kind of blame myself, but
Yeah, and then you could say like you had a slight chance in game 3, and then game 7 maybe. No, not game 7, game 9.
obstacle bishop one, or
Yeah, obstacle
Yeah.
bishop one. Like I had some slight chances there as well. I mean, I'm not sure if they were real, but I think they were.
At least practically, yeah. And
Practically
game 10
available.
was a good game, I
I
think.
think Game 10 was a fantastic game. Like, I mean, obviously we made some mistakes here and there, but overall, I think it was very high
I mean, for
level.
the complexity of the position, it
Yeah,
was because I definitely had maybe a decisive advantage at some point, but I had to allow an attack,
yeah.
which was just so difficult. I think.
Okay, yeah. So this ended up in a draw. So this is game 8. As yeah, people may know like this was game. I mean, this was
Yeah,
not a
this
not a fantastic idea by any means. Like, why is it's not better? But like the most obvious, like the most direct choices don't really like it doesn't quite equalize for black. So this was basically what I knew that these positions were not quite drawn, but um, which honestly I think this is probably the best I had as white the whole match. Like the only time that I mean I got you thinking
yeah,
and
I felt very under pressure here.
yeah
I mean, I kind of went for the forcing stuff because I thought strategically there's a lot of risk if I don't take on f3,
yeah no
and
I
I
mean
didn't
when you
want
come
to.
to this point, right?
Yeah, I definitely didn't want to play e4. Like
Yeah,
that was pretty clear to me. But like I didn't want to kind of mess around too much. I thought at least okay, that one
yeah, I mean you
should
got
be
a bishop on
defensible.
d6 as well, right? So like it's not like you can mess around um the town positionally speaking, but
I mean, only h5 was like a bit of an inaccuracy. Besides that, there was
yeah.
nothing.
No, this is the only the only point. Like you really need to play g6 now to avoid. And the thing is that such a position is actually even with both rooks exchanged. For those who are wondering,
It
is
just sucks. Yeah.
it's actually very sad because there's always this idea, and yeah, I don't. I think h5 was just more or less. I'll throw it out there, and we'll see what happens. But it was, I mean, to play that after 10 minutes was really weak because even though, I mean, it's most probably not going to give me anything significant. Like I can definitely pretend here, like rook, rook f8, whatever, king g2 or something.
Yeah, I think
King,
I would play h5 f5.
yeah, h5 f5. But I mean, with this, I mean, there isn't much, but I'm gonna keep one rook, move around a bit, and then
Yeah,
try and play
it's
e4 at
pressure.
some point. It's definitely like a little bit, little something. Um, but yeah, game 10 was just a great game. Um, so we get into this again, the
Yeah.
same position that we were talking about, and then b4.
So
And
you were totally on your own at
I
this
was
point. Eh? Okay.
totally, yeah, we hadn't considered this. Like we hadn't gone beyond king h1 and bishop d2. I think we'd like briefly looked at some very early a5 stuff, but no.
People are still playing like losing with white very quickly here by playing queen f3, like instead of a4, queen
Yeah,
f.
I saw the rest that did that
No, but it
against.
was really funny because I was playing like a 15 game 3 minute match against Wesley on chess.com.
Yeah.
Oh no, a6 first, right?
Oh, a
A6, queen a3, bishop e7,
a6 to
and you're
force queen
supposed to play
a3.
bishop
Yeah.
g5 to provoke f6,
Yeah,
but they play
exactly.
bishop d2, castle, bishop b4, take knight a6, bishop d2, bishop g5, which is game over. Just
Yeah.
like despite what the engine says, like -4 or something. And Wesley played this against me in a 3 minute blitz game. I checked the game after. I see that it's -4, and then Ali Reza plays against me in the World Championship.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. But yeah, we weren't looking at queen f3 during the match at all.
No, I mean that's a bit much. Um, but yeah, before this was just completely out of left field for me. Um, and yeah, I mean, there are other options, but I think it's hard not to go for a5 when you're facing it for the first time, it feels like the critical choice positionally. But I mean, in retrospect, like the more hardcore attacking stuff for black is a better way to go. But we even for game 12, like we didn't like this at all. Um,
Yeah, I think we didn't pay much attention to his A5 just because we were kind of only looking at the engine for the
yeah,
most part, and it just hated this, so we were
yeah.
Bishop E3.
No, I just like this is as far as I went. As you see, like I didn't even spend that much time. I just thought Queen E8, and I went to more or less how bad can this be, right? I was just thinking like you're not breaking through on the queen side, and I should have something to play for on the king side. And I think it was
It's not that bad,
um
objectively, I think.
yeah, and then like it's kind of shocking that Rook A3, which I think is what anybody would play this position with Queen G6 and so on coming. Like this basically gives away the advantage on the spot.
And makes it very double-edged as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes it
rookie one was important from
rookie
my
one.
memory, yeah. Which is very logical because
It is logical, but I don't remember what I was thinking here, but
I think we did have rookie one in the notes. It just wasn't one of the main directions,
yeah.
so I didn't remember.
Well, I mean, at least for the first game, you're never going to remember all the things that are not like near the main lines. It's just not possible.
Also, like let's say we get here F3 knight F6 or something.
It doesn't look.
Nobody's playing rook b4.
Oh, maybe you go Queen King H1, right?
But do you really sack the d5 pawn? Is it
Oh, I
like
thought you were. Evidently, you're not.
I'm scared to open the H file?
Oh, you're just.
Or okay, maybe
Yeah,
not. The
maybe
H
just.
file doesn't even matter.
No,
But I mean,
then you don't sack the d5 pawn.
yeah, and then just play this position.
This is yeah. We're not good enough for this necessarily. At least in a decisive world championship match, like in a decisive game.
Yeah, B5 was I was a bit surprised by it, but it's not a bad move.
It was just adrenaline, to be honest. I wanted to clarify the position, and it just looked very very tempting. Um, so I think
Yeah, this is the moment where I think Bishop B5 is objectively like more or less winning, but you have to allow an attack. Like Shanklin annotated this game and included some nice lines here. Probably something along the lines of F3 was were like one of his main lines at least,
yeah,
G3, and then Queen in H or no, this
yeah, this is just
yeah,
fine.
but there's something where Black tries to arrange Bishop
Yeah.
H3 and it doesn't quite work out
Yeah, the weird thing is that I actually included b4
after G3.
after g3 and not here. And then it makes sense that the rook is a lot worse on the b file than
Yeah.
no, sorry, on the fourth
But
rather.
it is logical to want to lure the bishop from E2 as well.
Yeah,
And okay, Queen G5 does prepare rook F6 and
yeah,
so on, so
yeah. So this kind of prevents it at the very least.
I don't think
This
F3
is
was
wrong
good.
as well.
F3 wasn't good for Black. I mean, it was
It
like it
wasn't.
was equal as
No.
well.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think we
Yeah.
basically played.
Now, okay.
Yeah,
Now we just get to something that I remember. Like I was still super nervous here because I think especially in these positions, I
I
was
was also nervous.
really nervous.
I felt like there was
Yeah.
a lot of potential for White to lose this, but we did play it pretty well.
Yeah, we did play it all right. I think I there was just one bad moment for me.
It was King C5 or something later,
Yeah,
or King D4.
King
Yeah,
D4
yeah,
was
yeah.
really unnecessary. Like at this point, I should have just forced a draw.
I do remember you like looked very disappointed after Rook B5,
Yeah,
but it's still just a forced draw. just a bit.
Yeah. What was my thought here? Uh, what was my thought? Yeah, I remember. Like, I was actually a little bit worried about something like Rook C5, Rook E6, and then Rook A4 or something like this, and then Rook F6. Starting to probe.
Okay, if I get both rooks to the 8th, then.
Yeah.
But I don't think I get that if you're careful.
I mean, I go G6, G5.
But like if you're just careful a move or two before. I mean,
Like apparently Rook E8 draws. What's the
just king on G8, and then just wait.
okay? That's modern engines for you.
I mean, I would rather play this with two rooks for sure. Then
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
then I wouldn't have agreed to a draw immediately.
No, I think we're at this point we're both kind of getting out of there, but yeah, I was a bit relieved that there was Rook F4. No, I think this is what I was thinking about,
Yeah.
and then King H7, King takes F3, and oh, okay, now I have this. Let's see.
Or immediately or before.
Oh, actually, this is a great setup. Like wherever you go,
Yeah.
yeah, that is just a dead draw.
I think like people question me why I didn't play 3 against 2 because in the first game you played, but that was a totally different 3 against 2. I mean, this is the most basic one.
Yeah,
That
this is the
that
most.
was with my pawn split, so I thought it was different scenarios.
Yeah, there was like a little something, but here, yeah, this is as basic as it gets. Um, okay, yeah, game 11, 12. I think we've probably um spent enough time on this.